You like to think your decisions are rational, logical, yours. You weigh the options, consider the consequences, and arrive at a well-reasoned choice. But what if I told you that your brain, that magnificent organ we celebrate for its complexity, is also a master of deception? It runs on shortcuts, cognitive biases that distort your perception and influence your every decision. We often think of our brains as supercomputers, effortlessly processing information. But the truth is, your brain is energy efficient. Our ancestors on the African savanna needed shortcuts, mental rules of thumb to survive. Is that rustling in the bushes just the wind or a saber-toothed tiger about to pounce? Our ancestors who survived were the ones who jumped to conclusions. These mental shortcuts, these cognitive biases, are deeply ingrained in our neural circuitry. They helped us survive, but they also lead to systematic errors in thinking. The first step to overcoming their influence is to understand how they work. Let's talk about confirmation bias. It's one of the most pervasive biases out there. You have a belief, an idea you hold dear. Now imagine you encounter information. Some of it supports your belief and some of it challenges it. Which are you more likely to pay attention to? Which are you more likely to remember? That's right. You're naturally drawn to information that confirms what you already believe. But here's the problem. Confirmation bias keeps you stuck in an echo chamber of your own making, preventing you from seeing the world clearly. Imagine you're shopping for a new shirt. You walk into a store, and the first one you see is priced at $100. Seems a bit steep, right? But then you see another shirt, identical in every way, except it's marked down to $60. Suddenly, $60 feels like a steal. This is anchoring bias in action. Your brain latches onto that first piece of information, the $100 price tag, and uses it as a reference point for all subsequent judgments. Anchoring bias affects everything from salary negotiations to real estate deals. Think about this. Are there more words in the English language that start with the letter K, or words that have K as the third letter? If you're like most people, you probably said words that start with K. After all, it's much easier to think of words like kangaroo or kitchen than words like acknowledge or ask. This is the availability heuristic at work. We judge the likelihood of an event based on how easily we can recall examples of it. This is why people are often more afraid of plane crashes than car crashes, even though statistically, driving is far more dangerous. Let me ask you, have you ever pressed a crosswalk button multiple times, convinced that it will make the light change faster? Of course you have, we all have, but here's the thing. Many crosswalk buttons are placebo buttons. They don't actually do anything. This is the illusion of control in action. Our brains crave certainty, a sense of agency in a world that often feels chaotic and unpredictable. So we invent control where none exists. We perform rituals, wear lucky socks, and cling to superstitions. The illusion of control can be harmless, even comforting, but it can also lead us to take unnecessary risks or make poor decisions. Now you might be thinking, okay, these biases are interesting, but how do they actually affect my life? Well, let me tell you, their influence is pervasive. They shape your every interaction, every decision, every judgment you make. Think about the last time you interviewed someone for a job. Were you more likely to hire someone who reminded you of yourself? That's affinity bias at work. Or consider the news you consume. Are you drawn to media outlets that reinforce your existing worldview? Confirmation bias rearing its ugly head again. So can we overcome these biases? Can we rewire our brains to see the world more clearly? The answer, my friends, is a qualified yes. We can't eliminate bias altogether. They're hardwired into our neural circuitry. But we can learn to mitigate their influence. The first step is awareness. Once you understand how biases work, you can start to recognize them in your own thinking. Pay attention to your gut reactions, your initial impressions, your knee-jerk judgments. Next, slow down. Our biases thrive on snap judgments, on quick and dirty thinking. So, take your time, gather more information, consider alternative perspectives. Look, your brain is a product of millions of years of evolution. It's a marvel of biological engineering, but it's also a bit of a kludge cobbled together from ancient instincts and cognitive shortcuts. It's constantly trying to simplify a complex world, often at the expense of accuracy. But here's the good news. You're not a slave to your brain's whims. You have the power to choose. You can choose to question your assumptions, to challenge your beliefs, to seek out information that contradicts your worldview. It's not easy, but it's the path to greater understanding, both of yourself and the world around you. We've journeyed through the labyrinthine corridors of the human mind, exploring the hidden biases that shape our every thought and action. We've seen how confirmation bias keeps us trapped in echo chambers of our own making, how anchoring bias distorts our perception of value, and how the availability heuristic leads us to fear the unlikely while ignoring the truly dangerous. But this journey, this exploration of our cognitive biases, is not meant to leave you feeling powerless or disillusioned. Quite the opposite. By understanding the workings of our minds, we gain the power to transcend their limitations. The next time you make a decision, big or small, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, what biases might be at play here? Am I seeing the world clearly, or am I being swayed by unconscious forces? Our brains, for all their complexity and wonder, are masters of deception. They whisper to us in the language of biases, shaping our perceptions, influencing our choices, and ultimately defining the reality we experience. But this is not a cause for despair, it's a call to awareness. The more we understand these hidden forces, the more we can mitigate their influence and make decisions that are truly our own. It's a journey of self-discovery, a constant process of questioning, challenging, and refining our understanding of the world and our place within it. Remember, knowledge is power. Know your bias, or your bias will know you.